Welcome to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at Phantom. This is going to be a lower time frame video. We did a higher time frame video which you can find up above here, so check that out if you want more information about the higher time frame counts. Okay, so let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so primarily I'm looking for the potential that we have. This is an A wave here, this is a B wave, and then actually looking for that potential of pushing up for a C wave towards the zone of this $1.10 area. So for as long as we actually hold this 22.16 as a support zone and this low of this 16.49, this remains possible as one of the main counts that I'm looking at. Alternatively, if we do see a bigger push to the upside, we could actually see a wave 3 develop, which would actually see this come up towards this $2.56. So if we do see this as a bigger fourth and a fifth, what we could actually see then is price move up towards this $4.33 to this $3.13. Now let's get into this B wave count here. Now it is still possible that we have a little more downside within this, so we're going to go over a couple of ways that I'm looking at this structure. So what I'm looking at is, one way is treating this as an A, this is a B, and then actually looking at this as a C wave to the downside. So what I'd be looking for within this count would actually be the potential to have an additional fourth and a fifth wave here. So I have done this one quite high because there would have been quite a shallow wave too. So I've put this as a higher move up here into this 33.23 as a 50% retracement. If we start to break above this 33.23, we need to be careful that the other count isn't actually in play. Now at the moment we just seem to have corrective structure to the upside. This can obviously change if we do start to break up in a bigger way and break back above this 50% level. Now what I'd be looking for here would be a 3-wave move to the upside here and then an additional 5th wave. So the 5th wave target I would be looking for would actually be this 26.90 to this 25.21. Now if we do see this in this way, what we could actually have is an additional fourth wave after fourth and fifth after we cross this zone of this 26.86. Breaking below this 26.86 would be 1.618 of this teal marked count here. So what I'd be looking for then is that potential that we could see an additional fourth wave up into the zone of this 34.14 to this 29.69, and then an additional fifth wave looking to bring us down towards this 24.65 to this 22.30. Now the 1-to-1 of this as a ABC pattern would actually be here at this 25.54, so that would be A, B, and C. So that would bring us into, and if I overlay this, we can see that this would bring us into that 702 line. It would also bring us back into this previous structure that we have here on the left hand side towards this 25.43. So that would actually be pretty much where we are with that 1-to-1. So I'd be keeping an eye on this if we do look to break down. If we are looking at this slightly different, what we could argue is that this is a W, this is an X here, and then effectively we're looking at this as an A, this is a B, and then looking for this as a C wave to the downside. Now the difference with this is that we could actually potentially complete it if we're counting it in this way. Now the key thing here would actually be we'd have to break above this B wave high to confirm this at this 39.44. Now if we are looking to complete here, it would have completed towards this 0.854 of the wave W. So this could mean that price could actually start to move to the upside here. But like I said, we still have that possibility for as long as we hold that previous fourth wave location, we could actually look to continue down. So I would be just mindful. This is the same idea, just looking at the internal slightly different. There is also a more tricky way of looking at this move where we could actually still be within a bigger B wave. So gonna have to keep an eye on this. If we get a 5-wave move to the upside here, which actually pushes up into the 72.37 to this 57.87 area, what we could get is a 5-wave move here, and that would then make this A, B, and C, because like we said, potentially we could count this as A, B, and C completed. Now the typical zone that I'd actually be looking for here would actually be a little bit lower down, which would be this 26.51 to this 24.34. So if we still see price push down a little bit deeper here and look to come down to this 26.51, that would actually be looking to bring us back into these highs as well. You know, this little area here is going to be an interesting zone. So the key difference is that if we get a 5-wave move up here, and then price actually breaks down in another 5-wave move, this would tie into this idea that actually this whole move is a B wave here, and we could see this C wave still play out to the downside. Now if we did see a move up here towards the zone of the 63.03, what this would then mean is that we could potentially see a breakdown which could look to take us towards this 22.71 to the 16.94. So I'd be keeping an eye on those levels. Have a look at the higher time frame count where we go into this into a bit more detail, but what I'm looking for here is if we do complete here, we get a 5-wave move up, we then reject and get a 5-wave move down, and then that move reverses and actually comes and takes the high again, that would actually tie into this idea of the flat. Alternatively, we could actually just look to find a low here and look to reverse to the upside. One thing that we just need to be aware of is that until we actually take this high again here of the 0655 area, we need to be cautious because there is a potential way of counting this as a diagonal pattern. Now, if we are looking at this as a diagonal pattern here, what we could then argue is that within this count, we could still have an additional leg to the downside here. So we'd be looking at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we could potentially argue this is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Looking at this as just an ABC pattern. Now, the key thing here is we'd have to actually cross this 2781, and then we would have to get a reversal to the upside in a three-wave move. So the rejection point we'd have to keep an eye on as we move up would be this 54.58 to this 42.73. Now, I do have some potential rejection areas here, depending on how high we move up. We've got one between this 39.53 to this 38.46, this 45.83 to this 44.29, which would actually tie in nicely with retesting these highs here, as well as this one slightly higher up, this 49-cent region to this 46.77. And then towards the top end of this move, we do have this box of this 55 to this 52. So I would be keeping an eye on those levels. If we only get a three-wave move to the upside, this could actually tie in with the idea that what we're looking for is actually a five-wave move to the downside for a fifth wave. And now if that does actually look to play out, that would be looking for this idea of having a fifth wave to the downside, looking to bring us down into this range here of this 1186 to the 7-cent area. So we need to just be cautious of this until we actually take this high again. We do need to be careful of that possibility of a breakdown. I do think it is more likely we would see this play out as the ABC, but we're gonna have to see what price action shows us. Okay, so having a look at the weekly CPR lines here, what we can see is that the spread on these CPR lines is very tight. Now this normally indicates that there's going to be volatility. So we have had quite a volatile move to the downside already. We've moved down to this R2 line here at this 28.39. Now if we do actually look to continue to hold this as a support zone and look to reverse to the upside, what we could then see is price actually be gravitated back towards these central CPR lines again here at this 32.94 to this 32.70. If we continue to reject, we could actually see price fall towards this R3 line here of this 26.10. Now if we do actually look to move back to the upside and get back above these CPR lines, what we could actually have as some targets here would be this S1 line here at this 34.95, this zone here of this 37.27 for the S2, and this S3 here at this 39.39 area. So I would be keeping an eye on those levels as we do see price react. As well as that, if I change this onto the monthly, what we can see is we are currently below the central CPR line. So if we do see price move back in towards these, I would be looking to potentially see these come in as resistance towards this 33.39. This area here of this 35.57 and this area here of this 37.69. If price does actually continue to break to the downside, this lower area here of this 26.50 could be quite interesting as a test of this R1 line. Alternatively, if price looks to break down in a bigger way, we have the R2 line at this 21.73, and then the R3 line is all the way down here at this 12.64. So we're gonna have to keep an eye and see how price actually plays out within this area. Alternatively, if we do look to move back above these, the S1 line is actually towards this 40.34. We have the S2 line here at this 49.55, and then the S3 line here at this 54.14. So that could potentially look to bring us back into some of these higher target boxes that we have. Having a look at the Ichimoku cloud here on the hourly, we are currently below the cloud, but it is still quite thin. We have actually managed to regain the conversion line and the baseline currently. So what I want to see is if we continue to reject off of this could actually tie in with that idea of continuation to the downside. However, if we do manage to get back above this, we could start finding support above this cloud. Now if we come here onto the 4 hourly, what we can see is that the conversion line is currently sitting towards this 30 cents 21. The baseline is sitting towards this 30 cents 89. Now we could get resistance off these potential areas, or we could actually look to flip them and find support on them. Now if we did see a move to the upside in a bigger ABC pattern, a three-wave structure, I would be looking to see how we react around the bottom edge of this cloud if we do move up into it, which would be this 32 cent 38. Alternatively, if we do look to push up higher, the top end of this cloud is towards this 35.08. So these two areas could potentially offer us resistance. Now on the 8 hourly, the conversion line is directly above us towards this 30 cents 67. If we just see price come up into this and reject, this could actually tie in with that idea of that additional fourth wave. Alternatively, if we look to push higher up here, what we could see is price be gravitated towards this 32.83 at the baseline and potentially looking to find resistance there. Alternatively, if we do look to push up higher, the bottom of this cloud is at this 34 cent range, and then the higher end of this cloud is towards this 38.07. Moving finally onto the daily here, we can see there is quite a lot of space between us and this cloud. So if we did see a bigger move to the upside here, potentially what we could see is price be pushing up into some of these higher cloud levels. Now the conversion line with this is actually at this 32.82, baseline up here at this 41.41. So I'd be keeping an eye on these if we do look to move to the upside, potentially to find resistance on them. As well as that, the cloud is currently sitting much higher here towards this 42 cents 37, and then the higher end of this cloud is actually here towards this 47.94 area. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description you'll find a link to Discord. Come check it out, it's free to join. Everyone have a great day. See you in the next one. Take care.